Hello and welcome to part 2 of the Sikorsky build. Originally I was going to do this all in one part, but it's just editing together is making it much bigger than I thought. So yeah, welcome to part 2 where I continue the build. This should finish just about where it's all ready to be final painted. And then there should be a third part with the painting and weathering. So enjoy. Well, the observant amongst you might have noticed that I've had another change of plan. Basically, I've decided to get most of it built before I do any real painting. I've left on the sprue just the wheels, which will go obviously through here, and then the outside cover goes over like so. Now those bits will be red, so I need to mask off. I'm not going to bother fitting those and the wheels. It'll be much easier to mask just this outside edge piece and then get the rest of it done. But while I'm doing it, I may as well do the rest of it. So I've cut off all of the teeny tiny pieces. There you go. We've got all manner of little bits that go onto the edge of the cockpit, the undercarriage, a bit more back like the tow rope, the little fin that goes on the top, which will be a different colour to the rest of it again, so I'm going to leave that till later also, and the little hook from underneath. A couple of other bits from the undercarriage which I haven't tidied up yet, and a big chunk of bits, come back out again, for the main rotors, which would need to be the same colour as the main body of the helicopter, hence doing it all now. So I've cut them off. I haven't obviously done anything more than just cutting them off at the moment, so I just need to the last bit of sort of denubbing, getting rid of the last bits from cutting off the sprue, making sure I don't lose any of the little bits in the process. Then I thought it would be nice to film getting these together. Then obviously I need to prime these and prime the other bit of the plane helicopter where I've sanded down to smooth down the seam line there. Need to go a little bit further on a couple of bits of that, but again, that's doing too much all at once. It's just mind numbing, so I like to do a little bit and then switch out to something else. Just sanding the same piece over and over and over again for hours is very boring. So I'm just there's 6 rotors on this large rotor, 6 blades on the rotor, that's the words. I'm not sure what this plastic is, but it's very flexible, very soft, which isn't too bad actually. It means it's got a bit of give to it before it snaps, so when you're sanding and filing it, you've got a little bit of leeway. There we go, that's that. The cover piece, again sanding on a round, just got to make sure you keep the piece moving, or the sanding block or file. You don't want any flats on it. There we go, and this was held in place on 3 of the little points. There's 1, 2, very fine pieces, you can't put much pressure on what I'm actually doing. If you can see, it's holding my fingers out, so I'm sort of sanding the tops of my fingers as well, and then just feeding in the piece just a little bit, just to give some support to the piece. There we go, that's that. Right, that's the parts done. Now let's see what the instructions have to say about putting that together. Right, on the post goes the bit with the bit with the spokes, then the larger piece on top of that, then the rotors, making sure they go the right way round, and then that top cover over the top. So let's see, I'll put it on the post later. So which way up was that? It's got to be that way up, right. Not so much holes in that as little location points. Just got that going there, right. They don't actually go in between, they just go next to. Alright, so I've got to build it on the post because that's what holds it all together. Okay, let's have a look at that. That's that way round. Alright, there's two little nubs on there. There's one and a very tiny one, and there's two holes on there, so let's put that bottom piece down. It looks like that just needs to, yeah, just squeezes in there, and that holds it all together. Yeah, because this is the top half of that bottom piece. Nice. 2, 3. It's definitely there somewhere. Let's miss that one out, come back to that. Ah, now I can see that hole is not, it's not a hole, it's not been finished properly. Sort of flash over the centre of that hole. So, just going to poke that out. That should be it. Or maybe that's not it. I don't think I poked it quite enough. Let's see. It's just there. Can't go too big because then it'll break off the bottom part. So let's just get rid of some of that. Just using the airbrush to, obviously no paint in it yet, to blow away the little bits of dust, making sure I'm not blowing anywhere near the little bits because they'll quite happily go everywhere. That's better. Once these are on there and the top piece is on, I will be adding some of the extra thin just to make sure it stays together. God, 6 of these is more than, it feels like so many more. I'm sure it's thrilling to watch as well. Still, that's the last one now. There we go. That's that. Right, there are posts on there as well. So, how is this going to go together? It goes through there, and that's got to go on top. They'll go into the other holes. Again, let's put that bottom piece down. So I can just worry about the top. I'm pretty sure they will line up with yeah, they're going to line up with all the inside of the two holes on the blades, just like that. Oh, except I'm bringing one off with my fingers around the other side. The trouble with there being 6 is there's nowhere to actually grab. And if you don't get all of them lined up perfectly, none of them are going like that. Alright. Okay, I think I'm going to have to glue these on first before I come back with the other bit. But I know there's another piece to go on before that, but it's definitely starting to come together. I won't be putting that on yet, but I need it all together to prime and then paint, so I'll do that first. Get it primed and then mix up the special paint. The engines need to go on the side as well, so again I think I'll be getting those on. I don't know if it's that way around or the other way around, but I'll figure that out. It's got to be that way around. They go on, so I'll get those on, get the other some of the little bits on, get it all primed again, then mix up the custom colour for it. So I expect I'll give you an update when I've got the colour ready to go. The last bit will be putting the windows in. As long as I'm careful with the cement around those, that shouldn't cause any problem with the paint, but I don't want to have to mask them if I can get away with it. So I'll have a think about it and see what I want to do. But see you in a moment. Right, that's the propeller all together in the end, rotor. I added some glue to that just to hold that together. I haven't put the bottom post on yet, so that will go onto the main body and then that goes over the top, but I'll leave that apart for painting. I thought I'd film putting these bits on there. Why not? There can never be enough swearing on the internet. So right, we've got one large. This step is what I'm doing now. So we need to put that on there. These two go on the sides. The gun type thing goes in there. Big hole for one little bit, and then that goes over the edges there. That's got a nice cut out for that, so I can see exactly where that needs to go. But the other parts don't seem to have anything. So that's basically just going to lay on the top there, obviously glued down. I'm assuming that there is a blob there which seems to line up with where that picture is, so I think that's going to go there. Is that yeah, that's not part of it, so I do need to remove that. Get rid of that little bit, and let's finish the edge of that off. Right, one side of this is got the raised pieces, which what looks like is on there, so that will go on, and assuming that they're in the correct places, it will overhang the back by quite a bit. No, it goes on to the end of that by the looks of it. So we've got the little piece goes in at an angle there, and the end of that goes onto there, so that's actually an angle rather than being flush, probably, assuming the picture is correct. Let's have a look. What have we got? No, it's flush. Okay. So, and then those two come off of the edges, sort of up here somewhere. Okay, so that needs to go onto there, flush, like that. Then I think I can get that in afterwards. It's going to be much easier than trying to play around with it before. So I'm just going to pick this up before I can do any of that. I do need to get rid of the primer underneath it, or at least some of it, so the glue's got some bite there. That also in there. Where that's going to go, this is all going to be reprimed again anyway, so it doesn't matter if I go over the top. Alright, there's two little arrows on one side but not on the other. I don't know. Right, I'll get those bits in first and then worry about the other extra bits. Airbrush time. Right, just putting that back on the block to save that little post. Right, so I'm putting some extra thin on there. And getting that the right way up. No matter how many times you drop something, it always ends up the wrong way up. Right, there we go, that's that on there. I'll just add some more that'll seep underneath. Moving that out of the way. Then the long bit. These tiny tweezers are actually very good. They let me touch and poke at things without too much risk of them going flying, because there's quite a lot of control over the ends of these. That's that one. Now that one goes, just the long end has to go in. Couldn't actually see any of that on the plans. It doesn't poke out. Don't know. It's not actually shown on the. So I'm not sure about that. I'm going to have to do some research on that, I think, before I glue that in place, because that picture doesn't really tell you anything. But on the painting picture you can actually see the main bit coming out, but there isn't another bit to it, so don't know, that's not very helpful. And there would still be that big hole there, so I'm thinking maybe it should actually go in a bit more. Don't know, I'll do some research on that before I glue that in place actually. And those, I'll look them up as well, because again they're not. Oh, they are shown on there. Not at the bottom, they're slightly raised. Doesn't show you exactly where, but let's see what I can see. Where did I put them? There. One there. So if I'm going to put that there-ish, Okay. Let's scratch off a couple of spots. They do have different curves to them, so I'm going to put the shorter curve, the sharper curve to the front. Some glue on these. And get that. On there. Just a few seconds to hold, it should be sufficient because there's no weight to the piece at all. But there's also not much area that's actually being glued, so I'll get that on just there and add in plenty more glue that will peel up the primer from there, but I can soon get rid of that once the glue's dried and reapply. So let's get that there and there again. Now I've got to be careful of the other one. This side. Let's get it the same way round again, so we've got the sharper curve there. Right, let's get that on there. Most of the glue goes onto my fingers, but not the first time. Sure it won't be the last. Looks to be lined up with the other one, but for some reason that one isn't sitting. Scratch off a bit more and put some glue on there instead, and then get that same way around again. Just about there. That's better. That's lined up pretty well, pretty central. There's the other side. Again, add some extra glue. Right, I've got to get the other couple of bits in. No, that's for the undercarriage, which I'm not putting on there yet. Get the hook in though. Let's get that done now while I'm here. There it is. Make sure that's clear. The hook points forwards. So we go right. Oh, it's right in the middle bit. Right, so I need to deprime it right in there. It's actually fitted to the bottom plate of the interior. So get that in. Get a couple of seconds to hold and set. Then make sure it's central while you've got a few seconds to play with it. And that's that. The other two bits I need to put on the front as well. I'll find out where that back goes, and then I'll get that done. And then the outside engines, they go with that bit at the bottom, so that goes there. Get them on as well. Let's do them now as well. This is just going to be a one-part video by the looks of it, so might as well just get this done. And of course that's actually the wrong side because I had it facing backwards, so that's the part that goes on there. No, it isn't. It was the right side because I had it backwards but not forwards. Team inept strikes again. There you go. Get that on there. It's actually angled down, is that correct? I haven't got a front elevation of it. Yes, definitely angled down somewhat, but not actually touching, is it? Oh, yes it does. So that actually makes contact along there as well. Didn't remove the primer that side, but that will bubble it up and get in there. Didn't realise that was actually going to be in contact, so maybe I would have painted it differently. Oh well, too late now, we learn. That's enough of that. And I think you're only getting my fingers on there rather than actually seeing anything, sorry about that. Alright, that's not very even. Why is that? Very strange. I think it's just the way it's angled up or down. Alright, that's better. So, there you have it. Once again, just add an extra touch of glue around the edges. That's that. Still got the masking on over the windows there, that'll stay there right till the end. Right, so I'll get the last couple of bits on there. So the hooks on the front, so I'll do them separately. They're in danger of getting knocked off, but we'll be careful. I've still got the rear rotor as well to sort out. That's been primed but needs painting. So I'm going to get these last bits primed while I'm doing it, but then mask off the red bits which are around the edge and some of the front panel. Then get it all done into the green. Then swap over the masking and get the final red bits done. Right, see you in a bit. Right, quick update before the priming happens. I've got all the bits on that I'm going to be getting on. I think the radio antennas at the front. The propeller, the rotor I've just pushed on rather than glued in place. I assume it will still turn. I don't really know, don't really care. The back bits, the tail fin. Actually, looking at the box art was the easy way. It shows it down. I assume it's a sort of rear skid. So I've done that on there. I need to leave it to make sure this glue definitely sets. So I'm going to be putting that aside for the night now, really. Sorry about knocking the camera. But that's just the update to show you what the state is. The last bit, why not, while we're here. This is where it all falls apart. I'm trying to do too much. Let's just pop the last rotor on. No, it's not going to stay. Right, I do need to, where it's been primed, it's made that hole a little bit smaller. Right, well that's that. As I say, I need to let all the glue dry properly first. As I say, that's just popped on. But once that's glued onto that post, of course the post still rotates, so once that all glued together that'll be fine. But I'll be painting that off anyway, but it's easy to leave it on to dry. Let all that dry, and get it primed, and start on the colours. Right, thank you. Right, that's all of it primed. The outside covers for the wings. I've put the wheels together so I can prime them. That's from the front of the front wheel as well, which is there, and the rotor all completed and primed, and the helicopter itself, which is still tacky, so I'm not going to pick that up, but it's got all the bits on there now. So that's pretty much the end of this part. The third and final part will be the painting, which and weathering. That should be, in theory, a shorter part, but we'll see. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you caught the first part as well. If you like what you see, subscribe and catch up with the next part when I bring it up, hopefully sometime next week. Yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.